We're live. Hello. I'm Amanda Call, and I'm here again working on my webcomic Age of Night. This is chapter 26, page 20. We've worked on this for 2 previous streams now. So at this point it is all penciled. I've started the lettering, so today we're going to continue the lettering, get that finished up, and start working on inking the background. So, first things first, I've got my ink, I've got my school nib, and we're going to finish getting these letters inked. Oh, I don't want top chat. I want to see the chat. Everybody, I want to see everybody. There we go. Whoop. Hello. Hey, Hungry. Hey, Spud. Thanks for joining me. Hope everybody's doing well this evening. All right. The actual, inking of the letters always takes a minute, because you got to do each little part of each letter as a separate stroke. Cannot go as quickly as just writing normally. Okay, so that's the end of the regular dialogue, and now we're going to start doing some of these little kind of sound effects. So this is going to get a little bit of an effect here. We're going to do this with some squiggly letters. Story Comic is here. Thanks for joining me. We're finishing up our lettering before we move on to inking backgrounds. Oh man, there's a whole bunch of S's here. It's gonna take a second. So many S's. Regular, not decaffeinated. Regular dialogue as opposed to sound effects. I wouldn't call the last 3 panels here regular dialogue, since it's not really words. And it's also not going to have word balloons around it. Whereas those first 2 panels are going to have word balloons, which we will do in a minute. That didn't even look like an S. What was that? There we go. See a lot of S's and then a lot of U's. Is the monster slowly saying sup? No, it's kind of hissing, and then it's making some kind of terrible howling noise. And again, this is getting like an effect kind of look on it. Give you an idea of it being kind of like a resonating noise. How many more letters do I have here? Still 3 more. Why do you have to make so much noise, monster? I'm regretting this decision. Squiggly little lines. Only 1 more letter left after this one. Whoop. Did not get as much ink on there as I thought I did. There we go. Okay. So now all of those letters are done, and I can actually put the word balloons around those ones up at the top, for which I will have to grab some different tools. Clean off my pen nib here. Okay, so we're going to grab our ellipse template and a French curve and a pencil. There we go. And a pen. All right, so let's find an ellipse that fits nicely. Make sure that I've got a nice little amount of space around all my letters. Is that, am I like at the end of, there we go. Freehand in a little tail. And then we're going to use our heck pen and do those before I even move on to the next panel, because otherwise I will forget which ellipse I used. Whoops. A little. Scoot this down a little so I can see better. Make sure that I leave a gap for that tail. And then use the French curve to give the tail a nice shape. There we go. What did I do? Why do you have ink on your forehead? What happened? What happened? Ah! Hate it when that happens. Okay. This one is kind of long, and I don't want it sitting directly on top of her head like it would be there. So I'm going to make I'm going to kind of cobble one together with a couple of smaller ones. So we're going to do this. We're going to stop at that halfway line and then scoot it over. Do the same thing. I know. How did I manage that? This is what whiteout is for. This is why I use whiteout, because stuff like that happens. All right, we're gonna tilt this one a little bit so that it actually hits the top of the panel there. It's always like right in the middle of a character's face too. It can't ever be somewhere where it's going to get obscured by other stuff anyway. No, right in the middle of a face. Why wouldn't it be? All right, and we're gonna connect those two sides here. Whoops. Make sure I'm actually still in frame here. Oh, my pen is being cantankerous. Let me see if I can get that flowing again. Come on. Nope, we're not going to cooperate. Okay. Okay, that pen is being uncooperative, so it's going to go sit over here in timeout. Guess we're going to go with a slightly bolder line for the rest of these, because my other pen is not working. It probably just needs to be refilled, but I'm not going to do that in the middle of the stream, because that takes a minute. Okay, same thing. This one's kind of long, and I don't want it to be like sitting on top of her head. So we're going to go with a smaller one and use those guidelines to keep the two halves in line with each other. this back down to where I can reach it. Which one did I use? I think it was that one. See, I forget even after like a few moments. This is why I have to do these like one or two at a time, because I forget which ellipse I was using for them. Get those tails finished. Hey, Keith, thanks for joining me. Almost done lettering. Whoop, come on. Oh, did I just smudge that? I just smudged that. Man, I'm having the worst time with smudging stuff this evening already. It's not a good start. But again, I say it's okay. That's what whiteout is for. All right, so now the lettering is done. I will eventually go back and erase all of those pencil guidelines for the lettering, but I want to let that ink really, truly, totally dry, so we're not going to do that tonight. We're just going to leave them. They're fine for now. I can work around them. Move my ellipse template out of the way. Okay. I am, however, going to keep my French curve nearby, and now I've got my triangle as well. I'm going to move to my 107 nib and start working on backgrounds. So I like starting with the stuff that requires different tools because, yeah, no, it's kind of, the stuff that involves the tools is kind of boring. So if I don't get it out of the way first, then I will not feel like doing it later. My inclination to actually work with the tools does not increase as the page progresses. So may as well get it done while I have even the slightest inclination of doing what I should do, instead of ending up with wobbly, wonky columns because I didn't want to use the ruler. Whoops, that was a little bit further than I intended. It's okay, we'll just make that window a little bigger. We can do that. Taking this opportunity to kind of fix some of my wonky drawing. I try to be strategic while I'm doing this so that I don't accidentally drag a straight edge or other tool through a wet line of ink. Not that it always totally works out, but that's the theory. Ah, I love my horrible creature. He's so wonderful. So horrible. Okay. Always with the aggressive cleaning of the tools. The lines I did up here should be mostly dry, so I can come back up here and start on some of these. What is this? There's like a hair stuck to my... Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh. And I looked it up. There are columns next to the door. So I'll go ahead and put that in. I couldn't remember if there were columns next to the door or not, because I drew that part of the scene a while ago. And this isn't like a location that they've been in before and that I've drawn a whole bunch of times. So I was like, what is in this space? What exactly do we have going on here? I don't remember. Thankfully, there's not too much of this stuff on this page. Still a fair amount of background work to do, but not too terrible much of the having to use straight edges and whatnot. Again, with my wonky lines. Like, obviously this is not straight, because you can see it's not the same distance from the straight edge all the way across. Whoops. It's okay. We're going to fix it. It's got character. That's what's going on. Sure. We'll go with that. All right, I think I only have a couple more lines left to do on this panel. Okay, I think that's it for lines on that one. So we'll start rendering that background. I don't remember what the door is supposed to look like. Is there something on it? I don't remember what texture I used for it. I'm gonna have to pull up some reference here because I just don't recall. But we can start working on the parts that I do remember what they're supposed to look. So we've got our, come on. We've got stone walls, stone columns. So we've got our little stippled stone texture here. Take a little break from using the ruler for a minute there. Ugh, it still annoys me so much. I got that ink blot right in the middle of her forehead. Just terrible. All right, turning the paper so that I have an easier angle to approach the lines that I have to do now. Oh, oh, oh. I dropped some inky water on there. Don't want that. Well, I hope everyone is having a good week, good start to their week already. Today has been kind of wild for me. I'm part of a project that just launched on Kickstarter. Not a comic one, a game project. So it's one that just launched today, and it's a game that we've been working on for a long time, and we had to postpone the funding campaign for it because of stuff, of world stuff, and it finally went live today, and it's off to a pretty good start. It's called Deimos Academy. It's a GM's horror RPG where you and your friends are going back to your creepy old boarding school and uncovering your repressed memories of freaky stuff that happened there. And it uses paper dolls and coloring book pages as its components. So you actually have like a paper doll of your character, and you actually draw and color on the environment as you interact with it. And it's really cool. So I did all the paper dolls. I'm the artist for the game. So I did all the paper dolls and I did all the rooms, and it's been a lot of fun. And I've done many, 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 many playtests and interviews and all this stuff for it. I'm just very excited because we've worked super hard on this game. So that just came out on Kickstarter. And hopefully it goes well. It's off to a good start, but you know, it's always like nerve-wracking until it's done, until the campaign is done. It's called Deimos Academy. So that's spelled Deimos Academy. Happy vernal equinox. Always excited for more daylight. Very excited for there to be more daylight. All right, let me look up this page because I don't remember what the door looked like in here. So I got to pull up what I have. What does this door look like? Okay, so I forgot some details here. Okay, so I forgot some details on this door. Let me sketch those in real quick. Apparently, there's supposed to be like a line of like rivets. 2 lines of rivets going down the door. Totally forgot about those. Let's draw those in real quick. Let's see, would not really see any of the ones on that side. Okay. So the good thing I checked. All right, and this also has like the little door frame has this situation going on. Oh, and that line should go all the way across. Apparently. And thanks, Keith. I am hopeful that it's going to go well. I'm excited that we're finally launching. We were supposed to launch it like last fall and it got delayed, and we've already been working on this for like a year and a half. So it's just like it's finally going to see a light of day. People are finally going to get to see it. Hey, Potato. Thank you for joining me. Okay, let's see. And we've got this little bar on the door, holding it closed. And we'll get those little rivets on there. That I totally forgot about. Are you going to be using a different pen on the figures? So for the figures, I'm actually going to be using a brush. That I will probably get to next week. But I do the figures with a brush. I use my Winsor & Newton Series 7. But I do the backgrounds with a pen. Yeah. So that we'll be doing next time. But that's... Yeah, I use the pen on the backgrounds and brush on the figures. I don't know if it makes any sense. It's just the way I like to do it. It does definitely give the characters a different quality to their line, so they kind of like stand out from the background a little bit. I will fully admit it's kind of strange to use different tools for the background and the figures like that, but that's just the way I've always liked to do it. And give them their little shadows. Not sure what that line was for. You wouldn't see the inside of the door frame on that side from that angle. I don't know why that's there. Pen for structure and line, and the brush for more organic. Yeah. This is generally how I like to do it. We'll see how far we get on doing this background tonight. So what time is it? Oh my goodness, it's already 8:39. Goodness. Time does fly. We are having too much fun, I guess. Oh no, I feel like I have to sneeze. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry about that. Very important to take your pen off the page before you sneeze. All right. That's the background for that panel. That's good. Something accomplished anyway. I've got a couple little details I'm going to pick out on the characters in the pen. I haven't done anything with this background yet. I'm not really sure what I want to do with that background. I don't want to leave it white, obviously, but I haven't really decided how I want to treat that one. It is the only panel on this page that would have just kind of like a not representational background, so I'll probably end up just doing like a gradient or texture or something behind him rather than really worrying about the background, because every other panel on here has the actual background that the scene is taking place in, and it's not necessary to have on every single panel. Some panels you can just kind of have just some tone. It's totally fine. All right. Oh, gotta get the chain. get Kamaria's brooch here. All right. So I do need to do a little bit more of this business down here. Okay. All right, I think that's pretty much all the things I need tools for at this point. I could probably do those with a French curve, but I don't know if I really need to. I might just freehand them. See how adventurous I'm feeling. Connect some of these ones that didn't quite connect. Let's see. Can I go for this? Yeah, we're gonna say that we're gonna go for it. Whoop. Whoop. One wasn't the best, but it's fine. All right, now we got to start putting in stone texture dots. Dots, dots, dots. All the dots. I'm going to choose to think of this as meditative rather than boring. That's what we're going to go with. Totally meditative. Oh yeah, this has dots too. Dots, dots, dots. So many dots. This technique is called stippling, in case you haven't heard me say that before. Do I have any tricks for deciding what panel layouts to use? I wouldn't say I have any tricks. I have different things that I keep in consideration. It definitely helps to know what the more important ideas are on a page, like to decide what are the more important ideas, decide what you want to prioritize. And that means prioritizing either by making a choice to show that instead of showing something else, or by having it take up a larger space on your page. Or if you want it to be like the final panel on a page, because that's the thing you want to have the like punch of like, oh, this is what this whole page has built toward. So I guess one of the things to think of that you could count as a trick is something that I think of a lot because I update one page a week, is thinking of the building of tension and release of tension on each page. And some pages aren't really going to have that because they're just kind of filling in space between pages that do have that on something that's meant to be consumed long format like mine. But if you think about building each page toward some kind of moment, or having multiple pages build toward a moment, like knowing where you're going, knowing what you want a page to end on. A lot of times I will actually start a page layout with the last panel. Like I'll know what the last panel is going to be, and then I kind of figure out how to make things work to lead toward that end. And I will also say that if you're not super sure about what you want to do for a page, that keeping things more simple, like sticking with a simpler grid, is a good way to go. A lot of my grids are super simple. I don't actually do a lot of super inventive, wacky grids. Every once in a while, I do something a little bit more inventive, but I think a lot of times it's not. It's a lot of times it's just a good way to trip yourself up. Like, experiment if you're comfortable with it, but don't feel like you need to have a flashy grid, like a very straightforward, just like it's just 4 tiers, and 3 of them are just one panel, and one is just 2 panels, and that's it. It's not fancy. That's not a bad grid. It's totally fine. This is a totally fine layout, and it works for what is happening on this page. It doesn't need to be fancy and have all sorts of like diagonals and floating panels and insets and all that kind of stuff. It's not necessary. Simple grid is just fine most of the time. All the little dots. You're so welcome. Yeah, actual like panel layouts, that's the hardest part. It's the hardest part of making comics. So it's like I have lots of things to say, but most of them are very specific to like specific situations. But hopefully that gives you something anyway, something to work with. So many little dots. Drawing Fell's sword real quick there. All right, we have reached the last 10 minutes of the stream or so, so I'm going to talk about my stuff while I continue to make little dots. All the little dots. I'm Amanda Call, in case you missed that. This is a comic page from my webcomic Age of Night. You can read the whole thing online for free at ageofnight.com. That's AGEOFNIGHT.com. I upload a new page every Wednesday. This page will be up in a few weeks. So we'll have a couple more weeks to continue to work on this. And while you can read the whole thing for free, if you want to help support me making comics, you can join my Patreon. That's patreon.com/ageofnight, spelled the same way as the comic. That way you get comic pages a week early. You get free comics for signing up. You get other sneak peeks at behind the scenes stuff that I'm working on. Hello, Terhiki. Hello, I've known about your channel for a while now, but this is the first time catching a live stream. Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I lost my train of thought. That's okay. It's not your fault. That is it. I do it to myself all the time. Yeah. So, the other thing that you get on my Patreon right now is a lot of behind the scenes peeks at me working on I Am the First, which is the graphic novel I'm working on this year with my friend Jeremy Flagg. Jeremy's writing it. I'm drawing it. You can find I Am the First and also the first issue of I Am the First and also the first 3 volumes of Age of Night that include some bonus material on Drive-Thru Comics. You can also find Age of Night on, like, Amazon if you gotta. If you like watching these live streams, I do them every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. They last about an hour, so that after the time is up, we can all get up and stretch and get a glass of water, because you should only stay hunched in front of your drafting table for so long without a break. If you want to follow me on the social medias, I am on Twitter at Age of Night. Again, that's spelled like the comic, AGEOFNIGHT. I'm on Instagram and TikTok at Amanda Call Art. Yes, Story Comic made me get a TikTok, because that was a thing. Age of Night also has a Facebook page, if you like to do Facebook. So I think that's all the things. You should like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my live streams, is the other thing you can do. I think that's all of the things. Oh yeah, and right now I also am involved in an RPG project that just went live on Kickstarter called Deimos Academy. That's DEIMOS Academy. I did all the art for it, and it's a cool jamless horror tabletop RPG where you use paper dolls and coloring book sheets to explore your time at a creepy old boarding school. Now I think that was all the things. I think that was everything. More dots! Dating myself with that internet reference. So I'm not sure. We will be continuing to work on this next week on the stream. I don't remember whether that'll be the last stream that we get to work on this, or if we will have one more after this. So we may or may not get to totally finish this page on stream. We will see. Obviously, I will get as far as I can on stream for you all, because I like to show you as much of the process as I can. But eventually the page has to go up on the internet, so sometimes I bump up against my deadline and I don't get to finish them on stream because it needs to be done. It needs to go on the internet. Whew, so many dots. All right, I think that's going to pretty much do us for this evening. We started out with this page. Oh my gosh, I just got drops of ink on here again. Stop it. Sloppy. Being sloppy. Gotta not clean my pen right over the page, because that's what happens. That's what happens. Don't do what I just did. It's a terrible idea. You drip inky water all over your page. Goodness. Most of that should be hidden by what needs to happen on there. But again, whiteout. Whiteout is your friend. All right. So we started this page this evening with all of the pencils done, but the lettering only half done. We have finished all the lettering. That's all done on here now. And we have started the background inking. I've got one panel where the background inking is done. I've got one where it's like a third of the way there. And these two still need their background inking, but we're going to get through as much of that as we can next time. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me this evening. I will see you next time. Bye.